Welcome to monochemistry, and today we're going to talk about the very basic material in chemistry. And I just thought I'd start off with a little Star Trek theme. Kind of geeky that way, I like Star Trek. Anyway, it fits in because basically when we start with chemistry, we're talking about matter. And matter is essentially everything, everywhere. The definition of matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So when we deal with chemistry, we're talking about matter, and we're talking about the changes that occur to matter. Yeah, just to refresh your memories a little bit, we know you might have heard of the term matter before, but you probably will remember learning about the states of matter in your junior high science classes anyway. And we know that we have solids, and we have liquids. There's our solids, our liquids, and our gases. And all of those are states of matter. They're different states of matter, so different ways that the matter can be arranged. Okay, so matter as a definition is anything that takes up space and has a mass. And what we're going to do in this introductory lesson is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the ideas in chemistry and how we study matter, because chemistry is all about matter. It's very important in chemistry to look at the properties of matter. And essentially, we have two types of properties we look at. We have the chemical properties, and we have the physical properties. Now, what those essentially are, and in order to figure out which one we're dealing with, you would ask yourself this question right here. Are these properties determined, this means without, changing the identity of the substance? So if the substance you're looking at, the matter you're looking at, can be examined without changing it, then you are dealing with a physical property. Let me give you some examples here. The mass of a substance can be identified without changing it. The volume, the length, the shape, the color of it, the taste.
Tammy, connect to the office for a phone call.
Although the taste is not very much recommended for this particular class. The melting point, the boiling point, the density. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The luster, that's how shiny or not shiny it is, and the hardness of it. Those are all physical properties. Chemical properties, on the other hand, involve how substances or matter reacts in certain situations. Now, chemical properties, when you kind of think about those, you're going to think about how does this particular type of matter react with, for instance, air, acids, water, bases, other chemicals. What happens to the chemical or the matter if it's heated? Okay, so those are some of the things you're going to look at, and these are some of the things, or quite a few of the things actually, we study in chemistry. Now, matter changes, and that's really important. And there's two different types of change, just like two different types of properties. There's physical properties and chemical properties. So in this particular sequence, we're going to look at the two types of changes that can occur to matter. And of course, because there's two types of properties, there's the same two types of changes that can occur. And here, first of all, are some examples of physical change. Take this popsicle we have here. See how it's melting? Well, that's what it's supposed to be anyway. It's melting, so it's turning from one state of matter into another, and that exemplifies what a physical change is. When something goes from one particular state of matter into another state of matter, it's undergoing a physical change. So I have some more examples down here. You've got your solid, water, ice, that is, liquid, and gas. But you can actually do some other things too. It doesn't just involve a change of state. you can change the shape, you can change the number, you can change the mass. Those are all physical changes. So take this one here. I'll get a different color here so we can see a little bit better. Yellow maybe. And this one here involves a student ripping a piece of paper. So originally, the paper would have been there, it would have had a particular mass, it would have had a particular shape and size. The student has changed that. But what the student hasn't changed is the type of matter. So that's a physical change because you've changed a physical property, but you haven't changed the matter that you started with. It's still paper. If you start to change the type of matter you're dealing with, then you are into chemical changes. Okay? So things like burning a piece of wood, burning this piece of paper that we see here. Right? Taking this water and reacting it with some lithium. Right? Those would be chemical changes. Anytime a chemical reaction occurs and you end up with different matter than you had before, that's a chemical change. Okay? So when you get questions about these types of things, it would be a good idea to ask yourself, is the chemical or the matter changing in a chemical way? Is it still made up of the same stuff, or has it changed? If it's still made up of the same stuff, it's physical. If it's not made up of the same stuff anymore, it's a chemical change.